Sometime when the 2020s, two geeks from social media formed an alliance to bring you geek news from across the Nostalgiaverse. They are Jacob's Toys and SuperSorrell, bringing you a weekly live show, toy, TV and movie reviews, special guests, opinions, tangents, and bad impressions, reveals, releases, thoughts, maybe dreams. Now prepare for the Geek Week in Review.
Oh, it's what, 100 episode 123 Geek Week in Review. With of course, me, Jacob's Toys, and the wonderful, wrong way again, wonderful one and only SuperSorrell. How you doing, Sorrel? Busy weekend, right?
Very busy weekend. I am shattered. I was at Hull Horror Fest on Saturday, and then today I was at Lincolnshire Comicon. So I've had 2 whole days of Comicon.
Amazing. Yeah, and obviously, I was at MCM on Saturday. I did catch your little kind of recap video with the with all the, nice.
Look at that for a poster. That's so cool.
That's a really cool poster. That really is a cool poster. I caught your little recap video with like Chucky and The Exorcist and all that kind of stuff. That's pretty cool.
To be fair, cool. The whole one was more about the stalls than it was about the actual like stuff there. There was a lot of like stuff I couldn't film, like panels and screenings, and they wanted to keep those like private for the people that were there, so I didn't want to ruin that. So there were a lot of like film show and things like that, but then it was mainly about like the stalls, the market, the like horror fest kind of market, which was really cool. It was some really cool stalls there. But
nice.
Lincolnshire Comicon today, I put up a little video as well because there was the usual people there that I like to see and stuff, and it was a lot of fun. To be fair, it was a massive place, the Lincolnshire Showgrounds, absolutely massive.
That's awesome. That is awesome. If you are watching the show live, jump in on the comments. A couple of shout outs quickly. Stug, Shelley, Bethany Beth, Joby One, Viz is there, BB Nice. We will get to comments as we go through the show, but do comment along. We enjoy reading things, and obviously it kind of steers the conversation sometimes. So I was at MCM on Saturday. Yeah. A couple of things just to note. I filmed the panels and my audio didn't work, so I didn't get any audio. No. But with that said, I came out of the panels and I was starting to like edit the videos to get them up, and then the official images came out of everything announced at the panels. So there wasn't anything announced at the panels that you haven't seen online already when it comes to like Transformers, Star Wars, G.I. Joe, all that kind of stuff. It was all out on display, and the official images came out pretty much instantly within the hour. So you didn't miss anything. So I wasn't too bothered about that because I just thought, you know what? What's the point? No one's going to sort of really sit there and watch a whole panel of reveals when they've all been kind of shared so quickly. So there was that. The other thing is they had the HasLab Ghostbusters PKE meter and Ghost Trap there working. They had it out of the case. They were showing you how it worked and everything. And it looks awesome, I must admit. I know we were talking about it on the 1027 and kind of going, it's a little bit of a, for Ghostbusters fans, it's cool, but whatever. But I was kind of like, you know what? I was almost a little bit tempted to back it just because it looks really good. Like it looks really good. Like it looks like a movie prop. There's no two ways about it. It doesn't look like it's made of plastic. It looks like a movie prop. And if you look at the backers now, when I checked before we came on, they were pretty much there, fully funded. So I'm sure that having it out at Comicon did help. But yeah, and I did see Giant Man as well. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a bit annoyed at myself for not pushing myself to back it, because in hand it looks really good. It does look really good. It's a massive figure, and it does look really good. Did you pick anything up while you were out over the weekend?
I didn't. Do you know what? I didn't buy a single thing this weekend. I was a good boy. I was there as a trader, so I was just making money this weekend to fund future projects. So I was a good boy. I didn't buy anything. Wow.
I did come back with a few bags. I'm not gonna lie. I came out with a few bags, so I'm gonna do some reviews and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was cool. It was a decent con. I did catch up with RDJ Custom Creations for a couple of minutes. Like we kind of bumped into each other going in and out of the hall, which was really nice because we've not actually met face to face before, which was really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. He was there with his little one, and yeah, we said hello and stuff, and just had a bit of a catch up. But I was kind of running between interviews and stuff, so I did manage to have an interview arranged with Ryan from the Marvel Legends team, and that's what we're going to be sharing tonight. We'll be playing that a little bit later in the show. I've not shared it yet on YouTube or social media or anything, so this will be like the premiere of it. The premiere, yeah. And I had a really, really interesting interview with BMAC as well from the Transformers team. Some really cool information in that interview as well, coming out about the HasLab and about some of the lines that they are continuing and sort of haven't touched and stuff like that. So both really cool interviews. But you know my kind of style. I'm not like one that pushes for like I don't try to twist arms and stuff, and it's all quite light-hearted. But I'm looking forward to sharing this one with Ryan and the Marvel Legends team, because he did actually share quite a lot and answer all my questions pretty directly as well. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, which is really cool. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, I saw Jason Page. Caught up with Jason
how was
Page.
that?
Yeah, he's a really funny guy, really
He's
decent
a fun
guy. Yeah, the guy is just Pokemon through and through. So he was performing, caught his performance. For anyone that doesn't know, Jason Page is the guy who sings the Pokemon tune. I want to be the very best. Like, you know, that is him.
And he also sung.
Okay, the
We're on
Viridian
the way
City.
to Viridian City.
And he
That
also
song's
sang as
arguably
well the Pokemon Go theme as well.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. But the guy is like a massive artist, isn't he? He's like a proper beatboxer. He's sung with Michael Jackson. He's done like things like Meatloaf and Broadway and stuff. Like the guy's a bit of a legend.
He's a really nice guy as well. He's so down to earth. He's such fun speaker. And when he's got his like human beatbox machine, when he starts doing all that stuff with it, like he'll start like with the beat that he'll sort of keep that, and then he'll move smells. By the time he can make like an entire song with just his voice.
He's incredible. But I was set to interview him, so I was going to have like a quick kind of 10 minutes with him and do a bit of an interview with him while I was there. But things with Hasbro kind of like got a bit delayed, and there was, you know, times changed and stuff. So I went over to see him, and I was like, I'm a bit stuck behind, but I really want to have an interview. Like, I really want to get you on the show and stuff. So do you fancy coming on the show one week? And he was like, yeah, 100%. So he's going to join us in a future episode, which will be really cool. Really, really cool. Might have a new intro after he's been on, you know. It depends what kind of mood he's in. But yeah, no, it was a good convention. It was a good. I like MCM. I really do. I quite enjoy it. It was incredibly busy. It's the busiest I've seen it for a few years, though.
Yeah, I'm going to make an effort to come down next year. I really need to make an effort to come down.
Yeah,
I've not done MCM for about 3 years now. Oh no, maybe longer. I did it just before lockdown. It was the year before lockdown I did it. So yeah, it's been a while now. So I need to make an effort and come down. I was going to come down for Celebration. It never pulled off. So
no, that's it. Come down to this neck of the woods.
Yeah,
come down to the dark side. I'll tell you what. One person I didn't speak to while I was there, like interview wise, was Jin from the Star Wars team. It was her first time over in the UK. Really passionate. She's one of the team that does the streams and everything. And they had quite a few cool reveals. For anyone that didn't catch it or hasn't seen online, they're going into the anniversary of the prequels. So the anniversary of the Phantom Menace next year.
Yeah. And
so they're revisiting that line. So they're going to be doing a load in the vintage collection and also a load in the Black Series collection. And the reveals were Padme and
I've got all the pictures if you want to run through them.
Little Anakin. Yeah, we can do.
Yeah, I've got all the photos up, so let me just share my screen here. So the releases were quite a lot of them, weren't there? So Marvel first. We had a couple. Obviously, we saw the first 3 yesterday, and then the final 3 today. But that wave's pretty decent. Can't lie, that is a good wave. This is the first couple of Marvel Legends in a long time that's made me go, ooh.
Yeah.
So I think Hallows Eve as well, especially.
Yeah, for you, Hallows Eve and Jack-o'-lantern are obviously, decent.
But Hallows Eve's quite a new character, so it's quite cool to see her getting a figure so quickly. She's not been around that long, has she? She's only been around a couple of years. Like she's only just had her first solo comic.
What did make me laugh? I've got to kind of like put Ryan on blast here. I don't know whether they can't say devil or whatnot. But he was talking about the thing, and he was like, "Oh yeah, she comes with like a Dracula mask and then like a red one." And I was just like, "It's clearly like a devil, clearly a devil." Just a quick one there, like Tac toys with film. I saw you on set. You should have said hello. You should have said hello. Sorry,
Very
man. I
nice
wouldn't have...
equipment.
Yeah. Oh, mate, my little camera setup is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. Never mind. I was being rude. Never mind.
Yeah, no, I had trousers on. Not sure. Yeah, no, you should have said. You should have said. And then yeah, I was front row of the panel, which was nice. But I recorded it, but then yeah. Either way, I'm not gonna share those panels because everything's been shared, so there's no point. But getting back to this wave, it's a Spider-Man wave. That's, in a nutshell. Obviously, a bit of a deep cut with the what's it? Shot Spider-Man, last shot. What's it called? No, not last shot.
Stand.
No, not last stand. What's the
Spider shot?
Spider shot. Bit of a deep cut with that one. Spider, Scarlet Spider. Obviously, that's a cool one. Last stand, I really like. That's a good one for me. Jack-o'-lantern, we needed a kind of an update. One thing that they've not mentioned that on any of the kind of press releases or anything, but his little glider hoverboard thing is compatible with the flight stands that you've got. Like the one we got with Hobgoblin and stuff like that. So that is compatible. Tombstone comes with 2 heads, and he's from the neck. So it's one of those ones like we had with Skrull and Nick Fury. So it's got the neck peg on it, which is cool. But obviously, when it comes to customs and stuff, you're not going to be able to use that suited body for Kingpin or anyone like that because it won't have a neck. And Hallows Eve, obviously, again, a little bit of a deep cut character. Interestingly, though, I did ask Ryan about restocks because Scarlet Spider has sold out. You'll see his answer in my interview a little bit later in the show. But I was talking to one of our retailers about whether they were going to get hold of them or not, because these were promoted very much as a Pulse exclusive, weren't they, at the beginning? And he was like, "No, we're definitely getting them." And then obviously they've all gone up on our independent retailers anyway. But the way that he made it sound was that a whole wave is going to be available. So anyone that has missed out, you will be able to potentially buy the whole wave. That's how I took what he said anyway. So
nice.
Yeah. Cool. Let's go to Star Wars.
Yeah, so we got a new vintage collection version of Count Dooku.
Yep. One that people have been asking for. So that was an obvious one.
Yeah, it's a one we've been asking for, one we didn't ask for. Thin.
I've still got like Power of the Force figures of him floating around where they were reduced in Smiths for like £1 or something. And it pretty much looks the same.
Yep. And of course, it wouldn't be a Star Wars line without a trooper. So we got another clone trooper.
But that's the Phase 1 clone trooper or whatever it is. So it's for those that collect the vintage collection, it's quite a sought after one. One thing I will say is that the card backs for those 3 figures are really nice. Like, they are really good card backs if you're an inbox collector.
Cool. I like look at this. So we're going to be getting a droid and Stormtrooper builder pack thing, aren't we? From that's going to be a Shop Disney exclusive and Hasbro Pulse exclusive. Which
is ironic because we were just talking the other day about
army building.
Army building, yeah.
But these are Black Series, right?
Yeah, those 3 are Black Series.
Yeah, these are Black Series, not TVC. So I was just double checking them. Yeah, these are Black Series. So these are 6-inch. So as far as I'm aware, that's the first time we've had a proper like pack in Black Series that's like an army builder.
Yeah. It'll be
normally,
interesting to know
the army builders are because the army builders are normally in the 3-inch line.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they package it. Because if they do it in quite basic packaging, like they did with the army builders for Marvel, it could be quite affordable to build up a decent sized like troop. But yeah,
reducing the price of my Emperor again. Another Emperor's. The shared fan exclusive. Another Emperor.
Yeah.
I wonder what they'll do to that one. I wonder if will they finally give us an episode 3 version with the floaty thing to sit him in.
Maybe.
The New
Maybe.
Republic.
Maybe.
That'll be cool. Because it's funny that they've used that photo.
Yeah.
That is either the fight scene with Yoda or anyway. Either way, he's in the big pod things. It'd be really cool if they gave us like a flight stand with the round disc and to stand him in it. That would be kick-ass as like a big play piece.
That would be pretty cool.
You could then put Yoda on it, like balanced with his arm up, like he did in the film. The way he landed all cool on it.
Yeah, that would be very
kick-ass. But then the one that surprised me was this is Heir of the Empire, if I remember rightly. Hasbro Pull Shop Disney, which is the clone version of Luke versus Luke Skywalker. So it's going to be a Heir to the Empire pack, which is interesting because it's going to be obviously it's Legends, but we're slowly working towards a kind of version of Heir to the Empire in the Mandoverse.
Yeah.
Is this a sneak peek of what may come?
No, and it's got what's her name in it as well? What's the girl's name?
It's been a long time since I've done Heir to the Empire.
I remember. I've lost it.
Luke clone pack. Luke. I don't know.
What's the?
Sorry.
If anyone in the comment knows, what's the name of the girl in that?
Mara Jade. Is it Mara Jade?
Yes.
Mara Jade. Yeah.
So
I've still got my Star Wars card. I'm still cool. There we go.
That's right. There we go.
Mara Jade. Then TVC. We're going to be getting a shared fan exclusive of Ahsoka version of Ezra.
That's very much everyone in the comments now. Mara Jade. So thank you very much. So that's going to be the version of him that we saw in the hologram.
Yep. Shared fan exclusive of Kanan.
Yeah.
And
so
shared
that's in the Series 1 armor.
Yeah, and then shared fan exclusive of Zeb Aurelius, which kind of
based on Series 1.
Yeah, are they the ones that didn't make it to the ship or something?
No, didn't they? Funded all of it, didn't they?
Did they fund all of it in the end? I can never remember. But it just seems funny that they've come out more or less instantly after they've just dropped the Ahsoka
I think
ship.
that was always going to be the plan. And I must admit, they had the Ghost on display, and man, it is huge. It is huge. It was probably the biggest display that they had was this Ghost display, and they had all the figures around it. And honestly, it's massive. If you ever seen the big Lego Millennium Falcon, it's bigger than that.
Damn.
Yeah. So it was just one of those ones. But even when I was talking to BMAC, he was like, "I love Star Wars. I would have funded this, but I have nowhere to put it. Like, it's just too big."
And then this one really surprised me. This is quite quick. But we're going to be getting a Hasbro Pull Shop Disney pack again with, I can never remember his name, but that new fancy Stormtrooper with the gold face. Enoch. And there's Zombie Troopers, I think they're meant to be, or the Remnant Troopers or something.
Death Troopers, aren't they?
Death Troopers. Are they officially calling them Death Troopers?
No, they ain't called Death Troopers. Night Troopers.
Night Troopers. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because the Night Sisters, yes. The Night Troopers makes sense.
But this is vintage collections. These are obviously going to be 3 3/4 inch.
But yeah, still cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
And then we're going to move on to Anakin. We've been dying for this one for years, but they finally made him. Are you an angel?
I just wish that they'd put a couple of bits of like C3PO or something in there.
Yeah.
It would have been a very good opportunity to kind of throw in the torso and head of C3PO.
It's got to be in the works to give us the naked C3PO with gold pieces to put on him later. So I think there's going to be like a one that you can deconstruct kind of thing. I think that is kind of in the works probably to go with this. There's no way they've made
the Chewie backpack though, didn't they? Where you could take him apart and put him in the backpack.
Because there's no way that they've made Anakin, and of course we've got Padme as well coming up, and there's no way they've made all these Episode 1 figures and telling us they're going to go into looking at Episode 1 without giving us like naked C3PO.
Well, he's literally been in like every part of Star Wars. Like, surely he's due an upgrade. But they did say that next year, 2024, because of it being the anniversary of the Phantom Menace, they are going to cover the three prequels. That's their direction for next year. So, fully expect there to be stuff.
The one thing that may and Hasbro, if you're listening, the one thing that may pull me back, the one thing that may just go come back here, Sorrell, might be a 6-inch Watto.
Okay.
Just so I can pull him out of my pocket every time somebody tries to haggle with me at Comicon, and I can pull him out of my pocket and go, only money, and then put it back up.
You just need to get a big plushy one behind you with a little sign saying "only money."
So when people say, no, because you get it all the time where people come to you and go, would you trade? And they're like, only money.
I did my first bit of haggling at Comicon.
Your first bit of haggling?
I'm not one to haggle. I'm very much a case of, you know what, if this is what somebody is putting the price at, then this is what I'm paying.
Oh no, you don't do that at Comic-Con.
That's
Mate,
very
all
much-
my prices are plus 10. All my prices are plus 10.
Don't say that on the live stream.
I
Now
can
everyone's
say-
going to.
It's fine. All my literally, because everyone comes to you and they look at it and go, he's got it at 90. They always go in and go 80 or 70,
Yeah.
and then you go 80 and they go done. And
Yeah.
that's how business is done.
Well,
Everyone knows that, especially at Comic-Con.
no, I know. I just thing is I'm not going to give any names or place away, but this was a reputable retailer that I've used often, that I kind of know him anyway, and I bought. Yeah, I got something, and I was like, you know what? If I take both of them, what would you do for me? And they sorted me out. So,
And I said normally with most retailers, it's if it's new stuff and it's like, because like if I was going to go to say In Demand, Comics, Cocktails, whoever, and it's a new on the peg figure, I'm not going to haggle, because that's, they don't get much wiggle room to begin with from Hasbro and stuff like that, because that's where they're buying it from. But if it's like a figure from like back in the day, they've got it just in their collections, they're just selling it on. That's when you haggle. That's when you have some fun.
yeah,
You got to insult them first. You got to slap them down a bit first.
I'm just like a real kind of. I'm just too British, and I'm just kind of like, oh, I could not possibly.
I'm just secretly I just give you 20 no more.
I'm going to come to the next York Comic Con just to try to haggle you now. I heard on a live stream that you put 10 on everything, so I'll give you 90.
That's because of this, everyone's going to come to me now at Comic Con and go, only money. But yeah, sorry, I've got on a complete tangent there. Next, we had Padme, because of course.
Pretty cool. The thing I don't get with this is that we had the Jane Foster head sculpt with Marvel Legends, and it was a pretty decent head sculpt. Like, it really did look like her.
Yeah.
This doesn't look as good, I don't think. They did say that
it is meant to be based on her when she was a kid, though. That's the thing. Like, the Jane Foster head would be her in her 30s, whereas this is meant to be her when she was about 16, 17.
No, but what I mean is that they were able to do the
yeah.
photoreal on her, so you would think that they'd be able to do it on her back in the day, sort of thing. But they did say, I think that it was either this one or the one that was on display was the old mold, and they'd upgraded it since. But I didn't look close enough to make a comparison.
I just love the fact that in the film she calls him little boy several times, even though she knows his name's Anakin.
Yeah.
One of them plot holes in Star Wars I love so much.
It still doesn't sit right with me that she's this big in this film and he's that big, and then they end up having children. Like, there's still something really wrong about that. I don't care what universe and what, there's still something a bit weird about that.
Mate, he had a glow up. That's all we're saying. He had a massive glow up, didn't he?
He did, but
Even
still,
he's a lucky boy. He's a lucky boy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It is one of the weirdest parts of the song. But then, because he was what, 12 and she was what, 17, 18? So yeah, he would have been younger, wouldn't he? About 9 or 10.
Yeah, he's like young.
Yeah, he's young, isn't he? Yeah, he's weird. That was everything, wasn't it? Oh no,
the
helmet.
The role play. So that is what's his face?
Yeah, the guy from Mando and stuff in it.
Yeah, but he's literally been in every single. I'm trying to think of the character's name. Oh, someone tell me in the comments what the character's name is. It's on the tip of my tongue. Begins with C. But he's literally been in all of the Mandoverse. He's one of the only characters that has crossed over into every single TV show. You're looking it up, aren't you?
I'm trying to. It's giving me his real name rather than his accent.
No.
Carson Teva.
There you go, Carson Teva. Yeah. So there we go. But yeah, I just thought that was a cool one, and it's an obvious choice because, the actor's very prominent on social media and stuff, but he's also been one that's been in all of the things. But I just found it a little bit rubbish that, considering he's very active and all the rest of it, you would have thought that they would have given this as a reveal for him, like give him the reveal on this, as opposed to just dropping it at MCM Comicon London. Like, wasn't even in the same country. Like, yeah. But either way, it's cool. And obviously, there will be a lot of people that will want it.
I still wish they would make these fully electronic so you can plug things into them. I think it's a massive waste that you can't use these things because they've got speakers in them because they've bloody got electronics. So there's no reason why they couldn't have an AUX jack in the side. There's just no way they couldn't do it. And then you could plug it into your Xbox controller and use that as like a helmet while you're playing games and stuff. I think that'd be awesome. Imagine playing the Star Wars flight sim game wearing that.
That would be very cool. That is a trick they are missing.
It is a massive trick. I've been saying it for years.
Yeah. No,
even if I was, to be fair, I'm a massive nerd. Even if I was sat in my chair, watching Mando, and I could plug that headset in and listen to it through my Mandalorian helmet and see things through his eyes. Hell yeah!
See you now sitting in a
just a Mando helmet watching TV, trying to drink coffee through it. Dink.
Speaking of Mando, it was Spot the Mando at MCM, and I only spotted a couple. Like there wasn't as many Mandalorians as I thought there was going to be.
Oh, see, I was at Horrorfest, so I played Spot the Megan.
Oh, really? Was there loads?
Thousands, and still loads of Harley Quinns. Harley Quinns are still everywhere.
Yeah, I saw the best version of the Nun that I've seen, and it was the costume in itself wasn't great, but she was on stilts, so she was walking through the Comic-Con on stilts with this long nun dress. And just like reacting to everyone she walked past, and I was like, "That's pretty cool. That is commitment." Like, because you come down off of those, that is going to hurt. But that is commitment to the cosplay.
Let me quickly find while we're chatting, because I have to share it. There was a girl walking around, and she's got a picture on the official Hall Horror website now. She was the female Pinhead.
Nice. And
the costume was absolutely phenomenal. Let's see if I can find it. But yeah, it was an absolutely phenomenal outfit. She looked amazing. Everyone was taking photos of her. She looked so good.
She was just like a gender swap version of.
Oh, here we go.
Pinhead.
Yeah. COS FX. Here we go. Share. Oh, stop that one. Present this one instead.
Oh wow, that's cool.
There she is.
That is very cool.
Yeah, there's some great cosplays from that group of people.
It works though. It does kind of work.
Mm-hmm. She looked good.
Yeah.
They were all walking around as a group together and stuff, and she had like her own panel and stuff there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she goes to like every Comic Con. I got my photo with the Winnie the Pooh guy as well. I had to get a photo with him.
That's very cool. That is very cool. I did actually see that. So panel wise at MCM, that was those. Transformers and G.I. Joe had a couple of bits here and there, but nothing that's worth kind of going into too much detail.
Do you know who I saw for the 100th time?
Who?
Good old Clem. Clem was there today.
Did ya?
Yeah, I always sit and have a chat with Clem. Every time he comes in, he sees me, he's like, Sorrell. And he'll come and sit with me for like 10 minutes. He was sat with my wife for a good 10 minutes.
We need to get him on the show. We really do need to get him on the show.
He doesn't do podcasts, he doesn't do interviews. He's kind of very shy, but he's such a nice guy. He come and sat with us for like a good 20 minutes while I was just trading, and he just sat there because he was bored.
I'd love to just talk to him about all the films that he's done though, because he's done so many Marvel films. Like he's like, whether it's the multiverse or whatever, like he is in a lot of them. Like,
whenever they need a villain, he's the go-to villain because he just looks the part, doesn't he, with his long white hair, and he just looks like he fits into. But I was saying to him, because he fits into every category of film. It doesn't matter whether it's sci-fi, horror, superheroes, James Bond, for God's sake. He fits into all of them. He just looks the part.
Yeah. So speaking about cons, should we do my interview? Should I put that on?
Yeah.
Cool. Right. Let me just find out where it is. Let's have a look. I think I've shared the right one. I'm gonna have to check.
It's such a professional podcast.
Thing is, I put two on. I uploaded it twice to this thing so I could put it on here. I'm not sure which is the right one, so I'm going to play this one. But yeah, so this is my official interview with Hasbro with Ryan Ting from the Marvel Legends team, and there's quite a lot shared. So watch it, and then we'll chat about a couple of things that he's mentioned afterwards. Let's have a look. Hello, here with Ryan Ting from Marvel Legends team at Hasbro. Welcome to London, Ryan. How you doing?
Thanks, Jacob. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much. Just caught your panel with a couple of extra Spider-Man reveals, which is very cool. I must admit, I kind of assumed that there was going to be a few more when we saw the first three.
Yeah.
A little bit disappointed though, because Scarlet Spider sold out like that. So
We heard.
First things first, is there going to be a restock on that?
That is a question for the Pulse and the UK marketing teams. I would hope so. We knew Scarlet Spider would be, I think, the most popular in that wave. And yeah, we hope everyone who wants them can get them at some point.
I'm just really frustrated, as I was saying a minute ago. I was live on the Geek podcast with Sorrell, and we were digesting all the 1027 reviews. And I went on after the podcast, and it was sold out. And I was like, oh. So, but I did get last stand one, so I'm really pleased with that. We'll talk about that in a minute. First of all, let's talk about Giant Man.
Let's.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Obviously getting it funded. I have to say as well, I mean, I've been quite honest in my videos about the HasLabs. I mean, I was a fan of Ghost Rider HasLab. I was really disappointed that didn't fund. Giant Man, I didn't back just because I didn't have space for him, but it was one of them ones where I was kind of really keen for it to be backed. There was a lot of fan excitement built around it. I just have to say congratulations as well. I think you really listened to the fans in regards to price point, in regards to articulation, announcing all the tiers and everything like that. With Giant Man now being funded, has that kind of changed the trajectory at all with what you're going to be doing next? Is there going to be another HasLab, or?
I don't know that it changes the direction because we didn't have a direction for the next one, to be honest. And so we definitely needed to get through Giant Man to see where that netted out. But I just want to thank you for supporting the HasLab, even if you didn't back it. Like, that's okay, and that's the thing where whether it's a space issue or a character relevance or a available funds at the time, we know these aren't necessarily the cheapest kinds of things to do, even though Giant Man was on the more accessible side for Marvel.
100%.
It still represents, multiple purchases of other types of things potentially, and I think that's important just to keep in mind that, like, even if you're not personally backing something, you can be happy and understand that other people might want it instead, right? Yeah. So that's always great to see. But to answer your question, I think it's another proof point in our hypothesis that for Marvel Legends HasLabs, bigger characters are 3 for 3 at this point. But at the same time, there's not that deep of a well of really large characters that we can do. There's a couple others that might make sense. Different versions of a Sentinel, right? Apocalypse. Things like the Celestials kind of are there, but I don't know that they have as much appeal, wide appeal. So we're going to go back to the drawing board, and we already had a couple of meetings actually since the end of the Giant Man campaign, looking at other things. And we're excited. And it might honestly, this is just me speaking, right? Personally, I think the HasLab formula to this point, which started with a sail barge and went on, our first project was the Sentinel. I would like to pursue other type of methods, whether it's something like a No Way Home 3-pack, where maybe it's a special pack, right, of figures for the first time, and it's not necessarily a humongous item because it's hard to keep hopping yourself every year. It's a space issue, like you said. So we want to listen to the fans, hear the suggestions. If there's other types of items, vehicles, dioramas, or if it's different types of 6-inch scale characters that aren't 2 feet tall, 3 feet tall, I think we're open to that too.
Amazing. The reason I ask is there's a lot of speculation kind of between fans and on comments and that the comments around Giant Man, because it had quite a slow start. It was around the 5,000 backers for quite a long time, and then in that last 24 hours it just skyrocketed. But there was a lot of people kind of, if we back this one, it's going to open up the doors for other articulated figures and stuff like that. I mean, me personally, I've done a couple of videos about this, but something like an Apocalypse with
you know, his horseman or something like that would be very cool. Fing Fang Fum, I'm still waiting for Fing Fang Fum.
Do you have the first one?
No, I've got parts of it, and that's why. But I just think, you know, I think the HasLab idea is a fantastic vehicle. Obviously, with the Sentinel coming out, that was the big one for us, especially in the UK market, because we didn't initially have it, and then it opened up to the UK market. But I love HasLab time, and it's really great to see these things coming out. And so, yeah, just massive congratulations for kind of listening to the fans, like you say, with the articulation, the price points, and excited to see what comes next with HasLab.
Yeah, it's awesome that Pulse is up and running in UK, and so for the first HasLabs, like you said, it was kind of hard. We had to work out special deals like on the side with partner retailers, but now for Europe, for all of Europe, and especially right London here, UK, just go to the Pulse, easy.
And I must admit, for anyone that hasn't seen it in hand at the convention, although I didn't back it, because when you did the Earth's Mightiest, Beyond Earth's Mightiest, I was like, right, I'm going to condense down my classic Avengers kind of display.
Yeah.
And then you announced Shaman. I was like, oh man, after your hand, I'm really disappointed I didn't back it.
There's over 13,000, I think, right? So maybe you might trade
around.
someone in the future.
I reckon, but it does. It looks incredible, and the marketing campaign on the lead up with the photographs and people like Steve like post on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
It was just so much fun to watch and be a part of. So yeah, really really cool. What we've seen recently is, obviously back in the day, I've been a long time Marvel Legends collector, and we used to very much just get kind of traditional waves of figures, whereas now we're getting a lot more like anniversary lines, special lines, things like the VHS box sets and stuff like that. Is there anything 2024 related that we kind of like keep our eyes open for? Because comic book wise, we've got quite a lot of anniversaries coming up, things like 5th anniversary of Wolverine, 40th anniversary of the Black Suit Spider-Man. Most ironically, the 50th anniversary of the giant size comic books is 2024 when Giant Man shipped. So those kind of things, are they the kind of things that Marvel, Hasbro are looking at kind of expanded into? Or?
Yeah, so it actually started in 2018 when Marvel Studios celebrated their first 10 years. We did this big fall program. Every year since then, we've done a big fall program, and in most years, it's been focused on Marvel as well. So it depends on what they have going on. Last year it was Spider-Man 60th, this year was Avengers 60th. Next year there is another anniversary type program, but we haven't announced it yet, but it'll tie into what Marvel is doing. And for the past year or two, we've been doing a smaller spring program. So in 2022, it was the 20th anniversary line for Marvel Legends. So that was the Toad, Hulk, Iron Man's Cap wave. And then for this year, we did a little X-Men 60th kind of program, and so there will be something for next year's spring as well. I think I got to connect with Dan Yoon on this back home, but I think our plan is to talk a bit more about that in our final fan stream of the year, which we don't have scheduled yet. I think it's going to be sometime in December, but after we get home, get through November, and then through Thanksgiving, and then right before everyone kind of breaks for the holidays, we'd like to do that wrap-up stream of the year, and then that's where we do fun things like our draft picks, our favorites of the year, and so more to come on that. But to your point, yes, there are additional comic anniversaries.
I'm really enjoying the anniversary lines. So obviously we saw your panel today where we saw the 3 extra Spider-Man figures announced. Was there a particular decision process that went into those? Because obviously the Scarlet Spider is an obvious one, we haven't had that for quite some time, but the others are a bit left field with some of the character choices. Was there a decision process, or?
Well, so it was set up to be a Spider-Man wave, and on those blister cards, and then it's just a fun brainstorm session working with our internal teams, working with Jesse at Marvel. Certain characters, we want to anchor every wave with some characters we think are really going to pop. So you get your Scarlet Spider. For me, I think that Tombstone is really important and all new, very exciting. And then it's just for Spider-Man in particular, because there's been so many versions, so many alternate realities. Things like the video game are bringing greater awareness to certain looks. It's just a fun design challenge to think what fits with our existing tooling library and what we can do. So that's where you get things like Spider Shot, like Last Stand, and spiking it with some zany characters. Jack-o'-lantern, that was a very 90s, very retro kind of, but I think that the team is also excited to use that new body for other type of goblin-esque characters, because we sort of went into the details on the butterfly joints and the pinless everything, so it'll be nice to have in the library.
Yeah, that's very exciting. So I'll skip ahead because you mentioned the design side of it. over the last few years, we've had some real advances in production. So again, having collected Marvel Legends since pretty much the beginning, even using Jack-O-Lantern as an example, the difference in production value of that Jack-O-Lantern to the new one is massive. Recently, we've had things like the photoreal technology come into play, both on the movie characters and the comic book characters. Obviously, the pinless joints, the double jointed on females, neck joint changes, the soft goods on some things. Is there anything design-wise to look out for, or have you kind of exceeded all of those possibilities? Are there more things?
Probably. I'm not as much the expert on that because that's all Dwight and our engineers and our sculpting departments. But you listed off a bunch of things, which is an impressive list. But again, we remember that's 5+ years maybe. So it's a gradual rollout. Yeah. It's not like we have Bucky Cap and then we do Bucky Cap only, and then all of a sudden we do something completely different. Yeah. So I'm sure there will be. It's also a credit to our partners overseas because it's a joint engineering team. We have in Rhode Island in America, and then we have in the Hong Kong office. And so sometimes they bring suggestions to the table, and then Dwight and our engineer review it and take it from there. So without getting into specifics, because I don't probably know, but the teams are always trying to up the game. I think something that we've seen recently is the photoreal process being applied to comic characters. A lot of the female characters in recent memory I think have come out really good, from Leah to Lady Bullseye to other types of characters we have coming up that haven't been announced yet, but I've seen. It's just that deck up on the faces is really impressive nowadays.
100%. So one of the things that a lot of fans say is about repacks and repaints. Obviously, you've continued the Infinity Saga line recently with a whole bunch of some new characters, some repacking characters. For some fans, this is great. For newer fans, they absolutely love it. I have to touch on the Spider-Man 3-pack because a lot of people kind of felt a little bit sour because they'd invested in the Spider-Man 3-pack and then the single card were released with the unmasked heads. If you were wise enough, you kind of knew they were coming because there was enough hints kind of dropped about it. Is there any kind of process that you kind of put into what characters are going to get remade, or is it just a case of picking your favourite ones? Or
so that's a broader question, and I think those examples you gave, there's different reasons for each of them.
Of course.
So for the Infinity Saga wave, yes, it was a chance for newer collectors who maybe weren't collecting Legends in 2014.
War Machine's a prime example.
So War Machine was a 2016 Civil War exclusive. It was a Target exclusive 2-pack, and then the Black Widow came out in 2014 in that look from the Winter Soldier, and so that's 9 years ago. So if you weren't collecting back then and you didn't want to hunt one down on the secondary market, this is your chance to get those. We were able to do a few new things as well. I really liked that Bruce Banner, just because there hadn't been a proper Bruce Banner MCU figure since 2015 Age of Ultron, and now to do it with photoreal, completely new head sculpt and everything is great. So that's kind of one reason. To touch on the No Way Home thing, we tried to explain it a little bit during PulseCon, but that was just more of a development timing issue. We wanted to get the Amazing Spider-Man figures, which have never before been done in modern Legends. We wanted to get them out as quickly as we could, but our development process is so long, we had to wait until the movie actually was released in theaters before we could start even thinking about how to release it. And so when we went into that development process for that 3-pack, all 3 actor likeness unmasked heads were not available to us for various reasons, and it was important to us from a marketing perspective that you either go with all the unmasked heads or none of them, because to do 1 or 2 would just feel strange and awkward. So we wanted to really focus on getting that 3-pack out, those 2 all-new figures into collectors' hands as quickly as possible, and then in the weeks and months that later followed, we got to work on that, what you now see, the individual blister carded wave. And if you'll notice, one of the packaging is different than the others, which kind of, you can infer some things are going on behind the scenes there, but things changed. We worked it out, and we were able to include all 3 unmasked heads there. It was not this planned out strategy, and it's to trick people into doing one thing or the other. So, and it's an accessibility thing too, because that price, that Hasbro Pulse exclusive 3-pack, I forget exactly how much it was, but it was a higher price 3-pack exclusive to Pulse, which is where our are really dedicated collectors shop.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man No Way Home was one of the biggest Marvel movies of all time, and for casual fans who maybe don't shop on Pulse as frequently, they might want to pick that up in other places. And so that was important for us to offer them again individually if you need to pick them up. And we did mix it up. We were able to get reference for the final red and blue suit. Most recent kind of Spider-Man, whereas it was still the integrated suit in the 3-pack with better deco. With but it kind of
became mine in one of my collections. No, as I said, personally, it didn't bother me too much because I knew that the unmasked heads were going to come at the time when they did, and to have that as a 3-pack, I was more than happy with that. So talking about Marvel properties, a little bit about the darker side of Marvel. I spoke to Dan last year about things like Werewolf by Night. We've obviously had a re-release of that this year with in colour on Disney+. I said about like a Werewolf by Night Man-Thing 2-pack. Are you guys ever going to kind of touch on the darker side of Marvel at all?
Of MCU specifically, or comic, or
well,
both?
the comic books go all the way into like Dracula and all sorts, don't they? I mean, just that kind of darker side, more the horror kind of collectors that are into the Marvel characters, as well as the MCU.
I think so. It's on the table for us. I haven't watched the color version yet. I did watch the original one when it came out. Yeah, and there's some interesting characters from there. It was fun to see Man-Thing.
Yes.
I was going to say again, but it's not again. It's the first time in the MCU.
Yep.
And so, yeah, it's something we'll always look at. We just have to find the right place. Those types of items are probably more geared towards a fan channel type release, just in terms of who would be interested in it. But it's all on the table for us.
Man-Thing's definitely one that a lot of collectors are asking for because we got him as a Build-A-Figure in the Netflix wave, wasn't it, back
that
in
was
the day.
2017.
2017, wow. And so there's a lot of people that weren't collectors who've seen him on Werewolf by Night. So yeah, if I can put in a request.
Okay.
Man-Thing at some point.
Noted.
So talking about X-Men 97, we've just had that wave come out as well. Absolutely fantastic wave. Really, really just loved everything about all of them. They've been massively popular. I'm going to assume there are more on because more than just 6 characters in it. Is that a line that we're hoping to continue further down the line, or is there stuff?
Yeah, I think the guys have said it in various interviews, but so yes, currently there is plans to do more X-Men 97 characters, but just keep in mind that those types of shows where with a very long list of characters, the list is never done basically, right? So I don't know that I can promise we're going to get to every single character that you've seen from the animation, but there will be a couple more.
Because you started it with obviously the VHS cell shade. That was more geared at the original animation. The line and the new 97 line, I suppose there's a couple of channels where we could potentially see.
I've talked about it before, but the VHS line, which I love, and I know that is also incomplete. We know. We started working on that before X-Men 97 was even announced. So once X-Men 97 started to be in the pipeline, we wanted to shift over and make some products that was going to be supported by entertainment. So that's kind of why it was a bit of a stop and start on the cel-shaded VHS.
That's fine. Spider-Man games. We've just had Spider-Man 2 come out. Is there a reason why we've only had like Miles and Peter in the action before? Because there's so many cool characters in those games.
Yeah.
Between Spider-Man 1, Miles Morales, and now Spider-Man 2. Are we likely to see any more of those kind of Gameverse characters?
I think we will. It's video games. It's another area of Marvel that is awesome in addition to comics and MCU. I think if you want to go for the first 2 games, Spider-Man and then the Miles Morales game, those were coming out at a time where there was a lot of movies and Disney Plus series in the works, and so we just had to really pick and choose what to focus on.
Okay.
Now with Spider-Man 2, which everyone is loving, the game's getting rave reviews and stuff, that one, I think we could, but it's just a matter of time, because video game development timelines are a bit different than toy, and I think we're better served coming out with figures after the game is released, as it's really hard to do it before or when it's during.
So just squash out a rumour, because a lot of people say that you're not touching the games, because obviously we had the Avengers game come out and the game itself didn't do too well, and obviously the knock-on effect, the figures weren't overly well received. There's a lot of rumour that you won't touch games because of that wave of figures.
No,
that's not it.
We actually put out 2 Gamerverse Spider-Man characters this year. There was, I believe, the Spider-Man with the white spider.
Yep.
I don't know what the suit names are called, but the basic hero suit. And then we did another version of Miles that was slightly different. I think different translucent pieces. So we're still doing them.
Brilliant.
Those were more updates as opposed to all new figures.
Yep.
But I think we're seeing everyone's really excited in Spider-Man 2 with the symbiote coming into the storyline, and of course Venom, which is a very large figure. We have to figure out a way if we get to a Venom, it would probably be one of those mega deluxe kind of type things. If you think fans would be interested in that.
Yeah, but I think Venom's a character that will always sell. It's ignore my t-shirt. I think it's one that will always sell. Speaking of games, though, we had the Last Stand Spider-Man announced, and previously the Mind Spider Mark 1.
Yep.
They're a little bit more geared towards the game design than they are the comic book design. So again, sort of people saying that they're like an incognito way of getting more Game of Thrones characters in. I love them both, to be perfectly fair, but they are designed a little bit more on the games than the comic books. Is that correct?
Well, I think I'm not an expert on the game. I think the designs there are pretty faithful to the comics because I've looked up reference for the comics for that Last Stand Spider-Man, for instance. So I think, they could have gone with either. It just so happened we had a spot in this wave and it made sense to do. So there's a little bit of flexibility there, I think, as long as the costumes are similar. But whether it's comic or from the Spider-Man games, either way that they get out, we hope fans enjoy them.
No, brilliant. So last kind of question. We've just had classic Luke Cage come out. Again, very cool character, very cool figure. Obviously, people are crying out for his companion, should we say, Iron Fist.
Right.
And we haven't had a decent Iron Fist for quite some time now. Are we going to get one?
Safe to assume that will come out eventually, I would say.
Okay, good
yeah,
stuff.
Heroes for Hire, they go together. And that Power Man Luke Cage was fun to work on, and hopefully fans are enjoying it. And so, I would say stay tuned.
Good stuff. And last one, X-Force Archangel. It's a figure that came out in a box set many years ago, the black and silver look. Came out many years ago, very hard to kind of get on the aftermarket. Are you likely to kind of touch on X-Force again? So we've had Deadpool, we've had Domino, we had Wolverine. Are they characters that we might go back and revisit?
Potentially. The trick with that, though, is we're so far removed from... So Archangel was on the Bucky cap.
Yes.
And as was that X-Force version, I believe. And so we're in this conundrum of, do you just re-release that X-Force Archangel from the box set, but it's kind of not on the most modern articulation, or do you wait a little longer till it makes sense and do an improved version?
Okay.
So those types of discussions come into play, but we love X-Men. Dwight loves that team, and we'll have
If a Haslab Apocalypse,
okay.
not quite as big as Giant Man, maybe shrunk down.
Yeah.
If you could throw in a X-Force Archangel as one of the tiers, then I'd very much appreciate it.
Okay.
Cool. Last thing then, Ryan, anything that we should kind of keep our eyes open for, any particular direction that you think fans should be watching for the coming months?
For the coming months, I'm trying to see. Well, I mean, I think the entertainment slate is, from what's been announced, there's the next Captain America movie. We're excited for that.
Yep.
And we'll of course have items, Marvel Legends items for that. I've seen them. They're fun. Stay tuned for that. There's a lot more comic stuff I think we're seeing with some of the entertainment dates shifting around. So it's not pretty to really highlight in the market type stuff like this Spider-Man retro wave that's coming out. We've got the Void Build-A-Figure wave, which is up for pre-order now. We've got it on display here with Black Panther, Vision.
I'm a big fan of big Build-A-Figures.
Okay,
and
that is a big Build-A-Figure.
That ticks the box.
There is a lot of chunky plastic
there is
into
definitely
that.
a lot of, and it's like translucent as well, which looks fantastic. Just come to mind. I'm going to throw one last one at you.
Okay.
The Riders series. Yeah. I was a massive fan of those, and they just kind of stopped. We kind of had a few bikes, and then it just kind of stopped. We had the Sky Cycle recently with Hawkeye. You could kind of shoehorn into the Riders if you like. Are we likely to see anything like the Riders come back, or is that kind of a done and done? Basically, our vehicle is something that you guys are still playing around with.
We are.
Okay.
Well, what we called the Riders was, if you go back, if you remember, year one was Ghost Rider, and then Black Widow, and Wolverine, I want to say.
Yep.
So that was an assortment, and they were all kind of similar, and we called it whatever we called it, the Riders Assortment. I don't know that we're going back to an assortment like that, but we will do these one-off items like Hawkeye and Sky Cycle,
Fantastic.
and any other individual one-off item that makes sense to do. It just won't be like a Rider series of 6 items a year, right? Like that. I don't think there's enough characters to really fill that out in the same way. And we're gonna flex up and down, I think, on the price point too, because we don't want to just reuse the same motorcycle every single time and have it be whatever it was, $40, $50. If there's something smaller or something bigger that is worth more, then you'll see that way.
Danny Ketch. I'm just putting it out
Throwing
there.
that-
Okay, just throwing that out there.
So what are your requests today? Were
X-Force Archangel,
X-Work Archangel,
Man Thing, either as a build
Man
finger
Thing,
or a deluxe, and
Iron
Danny Ketch.
Fist,
Iron Fist.
Iron
as well.
Fist, Danny Ketch. That's
Yeah.
a pretty good list.
You
That's
could
not
get
a bad
them all
list.
to me in 2024. I'll be very happy, man. Right?
Okay, well, keep that list, and we'll see what we can check off
Okay.
next year and in the future.
Brilliant, Ryan. Thank you ever so much.
All right, thanks for the
Thanks very
time.
much.
Ooh.
There you go. So I do apologise. That was a little bit glitchy because it's a high definition video. So there was a little bit of glitching going on with the audio, but I'm uploading it as soon as we finish the show anyway, and you'll be able to see it in its full entirety. But yeah, it said a lot, don't you think?
Yeah. I'm glad when you were talking about the HasLab, it touched on something that I've mentioned before, which is like the whole, they don't just have to do giant figs, they can do waves, they can do figure packs, like he said there. You know, that like the Spider-Man 3 pack or something like that as a HasLab. And I'm completely on board for that. It doesn't always need to be something that's going to cost us 300 quid. Just like a nice pack of something that you wouldn't normally get that's crowdfunded to maybe a few thousand people. That's when you'll see things like those monster packs that we used to get back in the day. That is a HasLab, because that is a key audience thing that a few thousand people may back, but it's not something that would sell at mass market. So I completely get where he's coming from. And I think that is the nice key area where you'll see some of these darker side characters appear through that kind of a project.
He also mentioned diorama as well in there as well, which I thought was quite interesting. So, you know, they're toying around with the idea of multi-packs with dioramas, with, you know, characters that you wouldn't necessarily get on the mainstream kind of market. So that's very interesting as a potential.
Play sets. Imagine if they released Cerebro. So you
I
could
know.
put your Xavier in it and have the little helmet come down and have room to put the other X-Men around him.
I was putting 2 and 2 together and getting 6, okay? But he mentioned the Spider-Man 3 pack and he mentioned dioramas. So I could see potentially like a Statue of Liberty head, like that old X-Men playset that we got.
Yeah.
You imagine that? You imagine that as a HasLab announced next year when they're announcing the rest of the figures like Electro and Lizard and that, because they've kind of hinted that they're coming as well.
Did you see the Funko pack? Have you seen the Funko set?
Yeah.
So yeah, imagine if Marvel Legends did that.
Yeah. So
they release all these figures as like, because of those characters from that are so big and deluxe-y anyway. Like you know, like the Green Goblin with the glider. If you stuck a great big diorama piece in the box with him, and so that every character, there'll be 6 of them, 7 of them, 8 of them, whatever, and you'll build up the frigging, you know, the new Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Sort of like that big top part of the scene where they're all hanging off of it and stuff. That'd be freaking amazing.
Yeah. So, but you imagine if they so they've released Sandman, Doc Ock, Green Goblin. They're all on display at MCM. We've obviously got all 3 versions of Peter. We've got Mary Jane. We've got MJ in the film. We've got Ned. We've got Doctor Strange. We've got all those characters. They've hinted at Lizard and Electro coming as well.
Yep.
If they released something like a Statue of Liberty playset, that would also appeal to other markets. So they could sort of tap into like the Joes. They could tap into other people that collect things, like even just like your NECA Turtles and things like that. If they made it generic enough but aimed it at Spider-Man, they would then potentially get backers from other fandoms and other
look at NECA. NECA have been selling that same rooftop building thing for about 4, 5, 6, 7 years now, and it still sells out every time.
Every time it sells out. But so that was quite interesting. I picked up that I liked. the thing as well is the anniversary lines. So you didn't. I think the audio was a bit laggy when I was saying it, but we've got things like the anniversary of the Black Suit. We've got anniversary of Wolverine. We've got the anniversary of giant-sized comic books, like the giant-sized Marvel. So all of those kind of things are coming up in Marvel. And he did confirm that obviously they work closely with Marvel with what they've got coming up. So anything anniversary-wise for Marvel, it's pretty much on the table as getting an anniversary line.
You know how much they love to give Wolverines a fresh coat of paint. So we're gonna see a whole wave of Wolverine. Come on.
Yeah. And interestingly, what he said is that in the fall, like in the winter, they'll announce what their spring program is, and then during the early parts of next year, they'll announce what their fall program is. So we've got some more information coming on the next anniversary line this year, which is exciting. The whole design elements thing as well, about what he was saying about what they do with the photoreal tech and stuff, that was quite cool to talk about. I like the fact that he gave us quite a clear and concise answer as to why the Spider-Man pack was re-released. And I know a lot of people have kind of kicked off about that online, but I think it was a very legitimate answer. I didn't sort of think that there was any wool being pulled over any eyes. It was, you know, they were working on licenses and stuff, and the proof is in the pudding with that Amazing Spider-Man 2 card back. They was obviously having issues with the Andrew Garfield head. I asked the old horror question for your benefit, but also as well, Man Thing. I asked Dan last year about Werewolf by Night and Man Thing, and he didn't say no to any of them, and he said that they're on the table as well. So it's nice to know that there's conversations being had. That we're definitely getting more X-Men 97. That they're definitely in the works. But what I did wonder about that is whether we're going to get remakes, like redos of characters we've already got, because he did make it quite clear that they can't do every character. So I think it's pretty guaranteed that we're going to get some. What?
So what he's saying is things are going to happen next year, and therefore me and you should definitely get to Toy Fair in January of 2024.
Yeah, I think maybe.
Hasbro are there. Hasbro are there.
I think
they're in the gallery suites, and they've got two this time. Normally, Hasbro stay in the gallery suites and hide behind you got to be invitation only and hide behind a lock and key. This year, they've got an actual stand.
Okay.
So they're right next door to Hio. So they've got some plans.
Let's
That's
talk.
a big space.
Let's talk about that one. I'm up for that. I'm pleased that we're potentially getting more Gamerverse Spider-Man characters as well, with the popularity of those games.
Yeah,
you know, with the design of some of those figures like Lizard and Vulture and stuff like that in the games. I think that conversation is much further along than we potentially realize, because he already mentioned about Venom being a mega deluxe.
yeah.
You know, based on the size of him. Like Sideshow and Hot Toys have already got their pre-order out for that figure, and it is huge. It's like twice the height of a regular Hot Toy figure, 3 times the height of a regular Hot Toy figure. So so that's obviously going to come as well. Iron Fist, everyone was asking about that when they were releasing the Luke Cage, and he pretty much confirmed it. He mentioned Heroes for Hire, which says to me that it's going to be a 2-pack, like we speculated. So I would guess that that's probably going to come as a 2-pack with a repaint on that Luke Cage.
100%.
Captain America movie, something not a lot of people have been talking about much, because there's been other things to talk about. But he said he's already seen the figures and they're really nice. So they're already made up and ready to go. So that'd be cool. Another Harrison Ford figure. So be interesting to know whether we get a Red Hulk movie figure as the build figure. And last thing that I think we spoke about was the vehicles, and how he said that they're talking about vehicles. I threw that one in just because they've done that G.I. Joe Jeep, haven't they? That was one of the announcements over the weekend. And the price point for that is £100 with a figure and with a Jeep. And I think if G.I. Joe can do it, Legends have to do it as well, because especially off the back of that failed HasLab, they need to show that they can also put them into the lines. And he answered quite specifically about their being different price points, so that it wouldn't be a standard like we bought before, a motorcycle that's repainted and put with different characters, it would be different price points for different vehicles so that they could cover different bases. So I was trying to rack my brains as to what that would be, and I actually can't think of what that might be. Maybe like a Fantastic Four, like the Fantastic Car thing.
Yeah, I think they're just saying that they're not limiting themselves to making one mold for a bike and then just sticking all of the all the riders were the same price. They were all about 40 quid, weren't they, or something?
Yeah.
So like they released that same bike 3 times. So I get what he's saying. From an artistic standpoint, they don't just want to give you that same bike painted green, painted blue, painted black. So they'll give you different versions, which makes sense because like all the Ghost Riders have different bikes. They don't all have the same bikes and vehicles. They all have different things. So it makes sense. And
that was something that I made quite clear. I was like, "Hey, Danny Ketch, that's what we need. Danny Ketch with his bike." Like,
but let's not forget some of the other like some Marvel characters come on horseback and some come on. You know what I mean? There's other types of animals and things we've not seen yet.
Yeah, definitely.
And
I was talking to somebody about the X-Force pack because obviously that X-Force pack is old now, and so many people want that re-release, and it was quite refreshing to hear that they don't want to just kind of re-release that because that mold is kind of dated now. So if they're going to do it, they need to do it at the right time so that they can refresh it, and that gave me a little bit of hope in regards to what we might be getting further down the line. I think especially with Diamond Select releasing that really awesome looking Archangel, if they're going to visit that character again, which they should do with X-Men and X-Men 97, everything happening.
Like you said, it'll probably be a fan channel exclusive or some form of, because like I say, Archangel's good, but is it mass market good? Is it a character everyone knows about? Whereas you stick Archangel in that nice, fancy outfit with, a Warpath in the black and grey and a couple of other characters, they could really stick that in a 2-pack or a 3-pack or whatever and sell it quite well, all with all brand new molds. Because they gave us 2 versions of Warpath. Well, kind of. They gave us like the Thunderbird, but it was the Warpath version of Thunderbird. Then they gave us Warpath, but it was the other version of Warpath. Everybody still wants that black and grey traditional Warpath that we're so used to seeing because that's how it was presented in the comic books for so long.
Yeah.
So I still think I think X-Force will get another massive re-release soon. I think we'll redo X-Force, especially with Deadpool around the corner.
Yeah. But what's interesting is that idea that they are toying around with HasLabs, they are toying around with fan channel kind of exclusives, and I think that the Spider-Man repack, much as people kind of got annoyed by that, shows the potential of what they can do because they released it as a fan channel exclusive. It's sold out, and then therefore they re-released them as single card figures with the unmasked heads as a way of getting them into other retailers' hands.
Yeah.
So I was really pleased with the interview and with the questions that came out from it. I think it's our style isn't to kind of try to trip them up. So I thought that I got quite a lot of genuine answers out of him, which was nice, which was refreshing. I've also done an interview with BMAC, who's over on the Transformers, and we talk a lot about their HasLab because obviously we haven't had a HasLab announced this year for 2024 with the Transformers team. And for anyone that is a Transformers fan, he's confirmed that there isn't going to be one in 2024 because we have had some quite pricey ones from Hasbro in general. But with the anniversary of Transformers coming out next year, that's what their HasLab's going to be. And spoiler alert, it's going to be Omega level size. So it's going to be an Omega level Transformer. And he did say to me off camera that in the comments, lots and lots of people were wrong and one person got it right. And the one person that got it right got a load of abuse from people going, yeah, that's not going to happen. But he got it right. Or they got it right, whoever it was. But I didn't press for anything else. I was like, you know what, you've offered up a little bit of information there. I'll leave it at that. But it's an interesting interview, especially if you're a Transformers fan. So that was good. In the comments there quickly as well, ID Custom Creations just said, "Gutted he missed Ryan, but it was great seeing me though." I did say at the beginning it was very cool to see IDJ as well, which was cool. I enjoyed it. It was a good time at Comicon. And that giant man was literally just behind us. That's what we were talking about. It was literally just behind us. I know a few of the other people that interviewed the Hasbro team kind of did it up on their little sort of stage part, but I was like, no, I want to do it down in like the thick of it and do it with the figures and stuff in the background. So that's why we were down there. And surprisingly, I think only one person walked in front of us, which was quite nice. So I had my friend Brad on one side, like crowd controlling, and then we had like Rob from Hasbro on the other side, and they were like stopping people like walking in front of us. We had like this little area commandeered out, which was really cool. But yeah, I think Toy Fair might be on the cards. I think might be on the cards. What date is it? When is it in January?
So Influencer Day is on the 25th of January.
25th. Okay.
They have a special. You can go as press on for other days, but they have a special Influencer Day where all the exhibitors are told to like play nice, basically.
Okay.
I've been before, and basically because they're all salesmen, they are looking for brick and mortar stores to take on Bandai's product, to take on Smiths, like take the one buyers from like Smiths and Toy Master to say yes, we'll take that line. So when you come along as a YouTuber who's literally giving a salesman nothing but all you want is their time for 10 minutes for videos, they're a bit like meh. But they have an influencer day where they have the PR reps, like the Hasbro team from Marvel and stuff will be there, and they'll have like the actual PR reps that like design them and stuff for us to interview and stuff. So it could be a good one. It could be a good one for us to do.
I know we've talked about it previously. We've gone over it.
We need to get a proper diary together and like organize it properly.
We do. 2024 is the year where we will be in the same room at the same time doing something, which will be cool. But that might be it. It's the day after my wife's birthday as well, so I reckon I'll get away with doing that because it's the day after. But yeah, no, it was good fun. It was good fun. Just quickly before we kind of round up, did you catch Loki this week?
No.
Oh mate, you got to get on it.
I can't get into it.
You got to get on it. Yeah.
All
of reality is now ceases to exist. Like, they destroyed all of reality. So in this series, they're somehow going to bring it back, which is a bit mad.
But if they've killed all of reality, how are they still around and alive, and where other than?
Because they're in the TVA.
They're off of the grid kind of thing.
Yeah. I'll just show you very quickly two of the things that I did get. Yeah. I did end up buying those two.
Nice.
I needed to get a Bruce Banner. Like, we've not had him since that horrible counterfeited one.
I've still got that one.
When you look at it though, it's just so. And
it's so bad.
Funny enough, where I'm moving my shelves around and stuff, I had him the other day and I looked at him and I was like, if I see the new one, I'm gonna pick it up. And yeah, it was there. I got that from Comics and Cocktails. And I also got the updated Black Widow just because, again, we've not had that since 2014. So I was like, you know what, I'll update that one and move on the other one.
So it sounds like we know that Jacob's keeping some MCU Avengers during his purge.
Yeah. So just to go over my purge, my Spider-Man collection's gone. That was where all my Marvel Legends Spider-Man were. So I've taken those out and I'm whittling those down to the ones that I really class as important. I've literally got like all of my customs here off the shelf. They're all going. And I'm going to pick out which ones I want. But I've got two or three comic book shelves that I haven't touched yet. And then the rest is all my MCU stuff. And I need to decide on what I'm going to actually keep. But yeah. Shall I show you what I...
The only Star Wars figure I'm keeping, which is really sad, really. The only Black Series I'm keeping, there's only one. That's Hondo Onaka. He's the only one that I couldn't get rid of.
I'm not surprised. I'm going to flex a little bit here, though, right? So, obviously, from Hasbro, I was the only one with a press pass. But I turned up to pick up my press pass, and they also gave me a creator pass.
Nice.
No reason. Doesn't make any difference, but I think I was one of the only ones walking around with like the double pass on, which was quite cool. And it's all the Slayer stuff, the Buffy,
Vampire Slayer,
vampire thing. So everything was like promoting that. They had a big cheese bus outside, like the yellow school buses, but it was raining, so I didn't get out to go and see it.
Yeah, they're doing like an audio book, aren't they? Where it's got the original voiceovers in it, like what's he called? The guy who plays Xander and that, he's in it, and
Yeah.
the original, what's he called? The guy that looked after Buffy, he's in it. Because I
What's
saw
his
the
name?
advert when I went to see FNAF. They showed the advert when I went to see FNAF, and it does sound good, and I'll probably download it when it's on.
What was his name? Someone in the comments, quick. What was the old boy with the glasses? Don't Google it. It's cheating. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Rupert Giles.
Was it Giles?
Well, Rupert Giles is the actor, isn't it?
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, it wasn't Giles. What was his name? What was his name? Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. If you find it, just give me the first letter. Oh, no, Giles was the name of the character.
Yeah,
That wasn't
Giles.
the
Yeah,
actor.
yeah, Giles.
Yeah, Anthony
Giles.
Head.
Giles.
But Giles, yeah. No, it was okay. It wasn't what I was thinking at all. Just quickly, Stugs asked, Sorrel, are you still collecting Star Wars droid figures?
No, not anymore, sadly.
Oh, right. Okay.
I've had enough of Star Wars at the minute.
Yeah.
I'm kind of Star Wars out.
I've got a very small collection of Star Wars left. I've got like maybe 6 figures. I've got like Darth Vader, Yoda, the Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Boba Fett. Like literally just a very small section. And I did say to myself, if I saw the Star Killer box set at Comicon, I was going to buy it. And I didn't see it, so I didn't buy it. Oh, just dropped my phone.
Yeah, I think people have this thing where they think if I don't collect something, I don't like it anymore, and that isn't the case. It's just I don't need the plastic representation on for every single thing. I like so much stuff. I'm a big geek. I love everything. If I collected everything, I wouldn't which is what I tried to do, and I basically worked myself into a hole where I had several thousand figures, spent a lot of money, and just had nowhere to put them, and I didn't see the point in spending 40, 50 quid on a figure to do a review to then stick in a box. It made no sense. I was buying waves and waves of Legends and going, all right, this is a really cool figure. I really like it. I'm reviewing it. And now he's going to go in a box for 3 years and we're never going to see him again until the next one comes out when I'll pull them all out of the darkness. Yeah. And they were getting damaged. And it just didn't make sense. So that's why I've kind of moved away from things. I like now that I've got this small, lovely little collection that is manageable.
Yeah.
Everything's on display. Every single figure that I've reviewed recently, they're all there. There's not one figure that is now sat in the darkness, like waiting to be put out.
I see Nosferatu's there as well.
He is. He's awesome.
He's there. I can see him. Spotted him.
He's awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing the NECA version though, because to be fair, for $54.99, I'm not sure what the selling point is when you've got NECA around the corner. They're going to release one at $32.99.
Yeah,
and they look the same.
Yeah. Andy H just said he's joined in. He's just coming quick. He's joined late, but he's going to catch us on replay. Sorry, Andy. For the sake of you coming in late, when the interview plays, just watch it on my channel instead of on the show because it glitches. However, he said I love Marvel, but I don't collect the figures, and that's kind of where I am at the moment. Is that I absolutely love Marvel. I've grown up reading Marvel. I Marvel through and through. Like, you know, the questions that I give Ryan, like that's genuine from my head, like from my own knowledge and fandom and stuff. But I've kind of reached that point in collecting them where I was like, you know what, I had everything from 2014 to now, like everything, and most of the stuff from 2014 and before. And then I just kind of got to the stage where I was like, you know what, I love Ghost Rider, like I absolutely love Ghost Rider. And I have all the figures for that release, but I didn't have them all on display because I didn't have anywhere to put them. Yeah. And I was kind of like, when I get my Engine of Vengeance, which I will be getting towards the end of the year, where am I going to put that? I haven't got anywhere to display it. So I'm kind of like, I'm at the stage where I've just sold off so much that I'm just kind of keeping what I want. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't back Giant Man. And I said that to Ryan to his face. I was like, I absolutely love it. I kind of regret not backing it because it's an incredible looking figure. But for me, my Avengers display, you can actually see how much I've given to my comic book Avengers. It's literally that square there. That square is what I've dedicated to kind of classic Avengers. Whereas beforehand, I had literally a whole cabinet of every character and every character's wife and every character's son and every character's like cousin for the third, you know, on the mother's third side that came for a barbecue once. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like it just got out of hand, and I just don't. I think there's a big difference between loving the property and loving buying figures.
Yeah.
Because if you just love buying figures, you collect everything and you just have everything. It doesn't matter whether you know anything about the character or whether you are invested in that character or anything. You just love having figures. So it's a new Marvel Legends figure. Here it is. This is great. I've got a new toy. And I kind of reached that stage where I was like, my love for Marvel and my love for the characters outweighs my love of collecting action figures. And it was just kind of like, you know what? I would rather just focus you know, on it. Andy, we'll just address that question quickly because it's kind of on topic of what we're talking about. Do you not think it's due to the whole market being flooded with re-releases in a different box, re-releases with a new head that's taking the enjoyment out of collecting and chasing them? If you're talking about specifically Marvel Legends, I do agree with that. I do agree with the comment you're making, and I kind of touched on that in the interview with Ryan. And War Machine's a prime example. It came out in 2014. For those collectors that had it, you might not have necessarily bought it at the time, but you would have bought it on the secondary market because you wanted that War Machine in your collection. So for them to then just release one that you could just pick up, and I saw so many of them, I could have bought it 20 times over at Comicon. But when I got hold of the one that I had, it felt really rare. It felt really kind of special. So I do agree with that point to an extent. What about you, Sarah?
Yes and no. So yes, for me personally, yeah, it does take it out because like I've been collecting for so long that I've seen it come back around, which again is a thing because not everybody has been collecting for 10 years. It's just that the majority of us all jumped on Marvel Legends at the same time. There was like a big influx of people around 2017 who suddenly picked up on Legends, mainly because of the Marvel movies and the MCU properties coming out in action figure form. That gave such a life to that entire Hasbro property, and so many people jumped on board with it. But now you've got to think it's been over 10 years of collecting. So a lot of people have literally dropped off of it now because it's been 10 years. And we now, Hasbro now having to reissue those same figures because people haven't got them. They've not been released in 10 years. So I get it. I do get why they have to do it. They need to draw a new audience in to keep it going. It's just that we're like the old guard that's refusing to let go, basically. And I think some of us, like me and Jacob and a few other creators, I know Dave Displays has dropped off a lot from what he used to do as well. He's kind of the same. I think we've all kind of hit that wall, and we've been doing this for over 10 years, and it's time to move on to some new pastures, basically.
Yeah, I do agree, and it's interesting that because you're right. The Marvel movies, what was it? 2003, Iron Man came out, and then by the sort of like mid 2010s, the like 2015, 16, 17, that kind of time, it was that, wasn't it? It was having action figure form of those characters on the movies, and I think it's really funny because you get so many comments about people talking about the MCU figures being trash, when it's actually the MCU figures that essentially opened up the wider market to the others.
Oh God, yeah.
Which is, when you actually think about it like that, is quite ironic. But yeah, I love it. I don't have a problem with the MCU figures. But for me, it's all about collecting what I actually love. BB Nice just quickly in the comments as well said that he's selling all the Marvel Legends. They're selling all their Marvel Legends and buying Mafex Marvel. They are more expensive, but less releases per year and only want main characters. It's kind of similar to what I'm doing actually with Hot Toys. So,
like the people that have been dying for me to get back into Marvel, don't worry because it's going to be happening very soon. Because as you said, like I do collect Mezco, and the Mezco Morbius finally came into stock this last couple of days. He's now in stock with a lot of companies. I'm just waiting for props and replicas to ship mine. So as soon as I get it, like I'll have a new Morbius to play with. So I'm looking forward to that. I do still love Marvel, and I will be getting some stuff. It's just that not everything fits in what I'm collecting right now. But Ghost Rider certainly is an aspiration, but it's 300 quid. So I mean, it's an aspiration project at the minute. But I do still want some Marvel properties on my collection.
Yeah, I've got a third party, and I like the term third party and not bootleg, but with the 1/6 scale figures, there's quite a few smaller companies that do it that don't necessarily have the license, so they will do like it under a different name. And I've got a Ghost Rider coming of that towards the end of the year, which I'm really excited about. And ironically, one of the things that I brought back from Comicon was a third party company's version of the Punisher, but it just looks like John what's his name?
If the rumor mill is to be believed, the what they're called, Mythic Legions could be releasing a skeleton horse next year. But he's going to have wings that clip on and off, so you can either have him as a standard horse or with wings to make him fly. But obviously, you know what I'm going straight away with this. I'll be taking those wings off, and I'm going to have to put a cowboy Ghost Rider on it.
Yeah, that would look amazing. That would look amazing. So just quickly, before we do leave, BB Nice has thrown a question. Sorrel, I'm thinking about collecting Universal Monsters, NECA or Jada?
NECA, 100%. Jada are good, and they've released about 6 figures so far, but they don't seem to have any. Jada seem to pick up a line, running with it for six figures, and then move on to the next thing. It's like they've already got Tekken on the go, whilst still doing Street Fighter, but putting more effort into Tekken. Now they've released 6 Street Fighter figures, so they seem to recycle lines pretty quickly. So, but NECA have been slowly releasing the Universal Monsters now for quite some time, and they're slowly getting into some other things that fit in with them pretty well. Like we're going to be seeing the Vincent Price figure in the next couple of months, and stuff like that, as well as like Midnight by London and other like little films that you probably may never even heard of, but they are Universal Monsters. They're all slowly coming out now as well. So NECA definitely have the longevity of the line. If it's something you want to collect for a while,
I stopped by Jada. I'm a big fan of Jada toys. They had 4 of theirs on. So they had Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and Dracula. They had them on display, and they do look nice. I've got the Wolfman one. I quite like them, and I think price point's a thing to consider as well, because obviously NECA and Jada are different price points. They're at different markets. So I think if you're starting out fresh and you're thinking about collecting something, Jada's probably a good entry point, because you could pick up a handful of figures at a relatively affordable amount and decide whether that's actually going to be a line that you want to continue with. And then NECA, like Sorrel said, has got the catalogue of characters, hasn't it?
Yeah. But you can get on Amazon right now with the Jada toys. You can get the exclusive ones as well, like the Frankenstein playsets on Amazon right now, along with the Bela Lugosi Dracula, rather than the generic Dracula. And they are really cool sets for the money. Like, the Jada toys Dracula Bela Lugosi was only 33 quid. And he comes with so much stuff. It's such a cool little box with like a drawer on it and everything. Such a cool set.
Nice. Just before we round up, because it literally is that kind of time, Shelley's just come in with a little bit of shade. It's got to be said, hasn't it, Shelley? You got to throw a little bit of shade at us. Well done, Ash and Jacob, for staying awake the whole show. We do appreciate that. Andy has just come back and said that we're actually just clones, and you're watching SuperSorrell and Jacob's toys. We need to do the. Can you do the finger? Can you do the Dragon Ball Z? Other side. That's not going to work. But there we go. So, good show today. Thank you very much for your comments and everything. Anything you want to touch on before we kind of round up?
Andy H has just put a really funny little thing in there. We have a story about Bella, don't we? Yes, we do, Andy. I'll tell Jacob this story really quickly. So, I was doing that thing where I was selling some stuff a little while ago. I managed to get my wholesaler, because I buy, for people that don't know, I do buying and selling, and I buy stuff and sell them at Comicon. Well, I bought a box of the Bela Lugosi Dracula, and I kept one for myself and reviewed it. I don't keep boxes, so I always yeet them across the room. But my wife must have picked it up and put that back in the big box with all the other Bela Lugosi's. I sell them off in the groups, one after another, 20 quid a pop. Poor Andy buys the last one in the box. I'm like, dude, you got the last one. It's all yours. Here you go. I send it out to him. He gets it. He opens it, and there's nothing inside. So he basically got the box that I just threw across the room in my video, and he paid 20 quid for the privilege.
There you go. There you go.
Luckily,
Well, you got the
I refunded him. By the way, I gave him his money back. I didn't just say "suck it, loser."
That's
But
it.
no,
You got it.
it's just the fact that he messaged me and went, "Dude, there's nothing in the box." And because it's Andy, I'm like, "I did what? There's nothing in the box. It's not the Invisible Man, And he's like, "No, seriously, there's nothing in the box." And he sent me photos, and I was still like, "I'm not sure if he's playing with me." It took me ages to go. No, he's being serious.
The SuperSorrell special, the empty box. Yeah. Shelley with a shade. There we go. That's your new nickname, Shelley.
Shelley with the shade.
Cool. Well, thanks very much, everyone, for tuning in to episode 123 of our Geek Week. We'll be back, obviously, next Sunday. I don't think there's anything massive happening during the week that we'll be doing a special or anything like that, or an extra episode. But we will pop up every now and again when there is something. Not quite sure what's on the cards for next week, but we've got a few things planned. So let's see what we can pull together. Do check out that Ryan Ting video. I'm going to go and upload that now, so it'll be uploaded. And if you want to have a look and see it without the lag, then that's where it'll be over on my channel. Leave a comment. It's always appreciated. Yeah, that's about it. Just trying to think if there's anything else. No?
It's Halloween this week, so enjoy Halloween, everyone, and stay safe.
Oh, of course it is. It's Halloween on Tuesday?
It's Halloween and Bonfire Night in the same week.
That's weird.
It's Tuesday Halloween, and then obviously 5th of November is Sunday. So it's the same week for once. All the kids around my end are on half term, so I've got paid all day this week. Yay!
Oh yeah, your half term's at a different time, isn't it? So our half term is literally just finishing up. Yeah. So
she's an half term next week.
Cool. Well, listen, everyone, enjoy Halloween. Thanks very much for tuning in. Until next week, keep it geek.